Hello, welcome. You are listening to Dr. Sushma Singh. Today in Unit 18, Tribe and Caste, let us start our lecture with topic language. The discussion above points to the fact that it is not possible to become a caste without being first integrated into the structure of Hindu society. Where such integration did occur, a very important process has been the acculturation of the tribes into the language of the regional community. It is significant to note that the caste as a social organization are operative only within a linguistic community. Hence, it is possible for tribe to become caste only after it has been assimilated into the regional linguistic community, such as the Bengali or the Oriya or the Assamese community. This process of culturalization that is so central to integration in the regional community and therefore caste society has unfortunately been glossed over by the sociologists and social anthropologists. In fact, it is not possible to get integrated into the caste society without first getting integrated into the linguistic community. Correspondingly, tribes were not only differentiated in opposition to the caste but also in opposition to the dominant community of the region. The dominant community was invariably a linguistic community. Besides representing a different language, it also represented different religions, customs, social organizations, and ways of life. This raises an interesting question. For example, whether tribes, after they have become Hinduized and even caste-like, are to be treated either as caste or as tribes if they continue to maintain their language. After all, as noted earlier, tribes have also been conceived in opposition to language or the linguistic community. Can they be both tribes and caste at the same time? This seems far from the tenable, as the two not only constitute a different linguistic community but also two contrasting types of social organization. Are then tribes to be treated as caste just because they have been process of Hinduization among them? Do tribes by Hinduizing and Sanskritizing become caste while retaining on the other hand their language, culture, custom, social practices and so on? What is important to note is the influence of Hinduism or the Hindu on tribes. This, however, does not make them Hindu. To be Hindu, they need to be drawn into the structure of the Hindu society, which is possible only by getting drawn into the structure of the regional linguistic community. Tribes are differentiated from non-tribes not on the basis of religion alone. That is what the colonial anthropographers did. Anthropologists have differentiated tribes from others, however, on more than one criteria. Of course, the most important have been language and the social organization of the caste. Tribes have been thus treated as tribes precisely because they have been outside the dominant regional community and thereby outside the complex of civilization. However, even with the change at the level of culture, including reason, religion and language, one is still not sure if tribes could be said to have become caste. Much of course, was dependent on the nature of their linkage with the social structure of the regional linguistic and Hindu society. Indeed, what seems to me to be the most crucial feature for the integration of tribes into the structure of regional community are not only religion and language but also the organizational structure of the regional community. Of the aspect of a culturalization into a language is to my mind far more important than a culturalization into religion, though the latter is not altogether unimportant. Unfortunately, sociologists and anthropologists have never given language the place it deserves in understanding the transformation of tribes into caste. And yet, without going into these questions, anthropologists have jumped to the conclusion that tribes are becoming castes or getting integrated into the Hindu society. It is also to be noted that being drawn into a larger society does not mean that tribes cease to interact as a society. Do they then, by virtue of cultural change within society, cease to be society? Does Bengali society cease to be a society in the wake of the process of westernization and modernization within it? The paradox is that nobody even denies the existence and identity of the Bengali society, but if the same process occurs in the tribal society, the general trend is to negate its existence. That tribe exists as a society as much as the other society exists is unfortunately denied to tribal society when it undergoes change in the context of its continued encounter with the larger society. Anthropologists have been swift to incorporate them into the larger society at the slightest sign of the change in them. In their zeal to emphasize change or a culturalization process, the aspect of continuity about the anthropologist so fondly talk about in the context of the larger Indian reality has been completely overlooked in the context of tribal social reality. What this discussion points to then is it the conclusions such as the ones reached by sociologists, social anthropologists are based on adequacy of ethnography, concept and even logic? There is hardly any inquiry into the ways in which the Hinduized tribes are linked with the caste and the ways in which they relate with their original group. Also, no efforts whatsoever has been made to ascertain if cultured tribes were regulated by the principle of caste organization or of the organization of the tribe. Issues such as these that are central to the argument in support of transformation of tribe into caste have unfortunately not been adequately looked into and examined. Not only that, but even the concepts such as Sanskritization and Hinduization used for understanding the transformation into caste are inadequate for advancing any argument in support of such a transformation. Here we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.